This is Group 13's third video assignment for Intermediate Microeconomics. Price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded of some good or service to a change in price. A good is said to be inelastic when there is little response in demand to a price change. An example of this would be cigarettes, because to a smoker there are not many substitutes that will provide the same satisfaction. Therefore, they are willing to continue purchasing through a price change. A good is inelastic when there is a response in demand to a change in price. An example of this would be Camel cigarettes, because there are many other brands that will provide the same satisfaction to a smoker. Therefore, if Camel raises their prices, consumers will just buy more of other brands. Elasticity of demand can be calculated using the formula of percent change in quantity demanded over the percent change in price. If the number is greater than or equal to the absolute value of -1, the good is said to be elastic. If the good is less than the absolute value of -1, the good is inelastic. One way to calculate the elasticity of demand is to use a point on the demand curve. Point elasticity uses a specific point on the demand curve to tell us how responsive consumers are at that specific point. To find point elasticity of a good, we use the formula of Q2 minus Q1 over Q1, and then put all of that over P2 minus P1 over P1. This is the same as finding the percent change in quantity demanded over the percent change in price. For example, we will identify the elasticity of demand for Reese's Cups at the pod. If they are currently selling 20 Reese's Cups a day at a price of $1.50, they plan to raise their price to $2 and expect 15 Reese's Cups to be sold. We can now calculate the elasticity of demand. We use 20 as our Q1 since that was the original quantity, and 15 as our Q2 because that is the new quantity. Similarly, we use $1.50 as our P1 and $2 as P2. When we plug in the new numbers, we get a point elasticity of -0.75. This indicates that the demand for Reese's Cups at the pod is elastic. Another way to calculate elasticity of demand is to use arc elasticity. Arc elasticity shows the response to a range of prices at the midpoint of the curve. Arc elasticity can be calculated using the formula Q2 minus Q1 over Q2 plus Q1, and putting that over P2 minus P1 over P2 plus P1. To measure the arc elasticity, we will use the same scenario as before, but this time we will use the arc formula. Once again, Q1 is 20, Q2 is 15, P1 is $1.50, and P2 is $2. When we plug in the numbers to the formula, we get an arc elasticity of -1. Although this number is not the same as the elasticity we got using the point formula, the demand is still elastic. Now we will examine two video examples. One showing an example of an inelastic good and another showing an elastic good.
Dang it, my water bill went up again. Well, there's no other providers and I can't live without it, so I guess I'll just have to pay it.
In this example, we are shown a water bill increasing. Although the price went up and the consumer isn't particularly happy about it, there aren't any other providers, and most people are unwilling to live in a house without water. Since consumers are willing to continue paying the higher price, water is an inelastic good.
So me as a consumer, when I prefer these New Balance shoes at $170, I see that Nike has a sale for $134. So me as a consumer, I'm more likely to pick up the ones that are cheap.
In this example, we are presented with two different brands of shoes. Because the consumer did not value one more than the other, he chose the cheaper option. This means that shoes are an elastic good.